All right. What's going on, party people? This your man Griff. Get myself looking funky fresh here. All right, now look. Quick lesson here. All right. Y'all saw the video I did earlier about people talking about where to put my stamp. I don't know where to put my stamp and all that kind of stuff. It's clear. Add a certificate. It's very, very simple. That's all you got to do. As you know, I've been doing classes and just talking to people about different things with these documents, as well as other people are now doing classes talking about things with these documents. I'm going to give y'all a real small glimpse at some of the stuff that I'm talking about in these classes. And it's nothing too difficult. And I'm not giving you everything that I'm talking about. And a lot of the classes also centered on people asking questions and getting those questions answered, which when you have a Zoom class of 200 some people, or you have a class that's really pretty much an information dump where people are just dumping information and they don't give you an opportunity to ask questions. Sometimes the learning can't take place like it should. That's why a lot of my classes, even though they're only 2 hours long on paper, we end up being in there to 2 o'clock in the morning, especially the ones we doing at 10 o'clock. We in there the only time, and then, you know, and I try to have an hour break in between. So even some of my earlier classes still end up going 2.5, almost 3 hours. I'm talking about all the way up to the next class. So, you know, for $35, you're getting way more than what is expected. And everybody gets their question answered. And if I don't know the answer myself, I will work with you to get the answer and give you some guidelines on how to get your questions answered. So one of the things I talk to people about is following directions. Following directions is key. You have to follow directions. If you don't follow directions, it can jack you up and it can cause you to get your pay reduced or you not getting paid at all. So I'm gonna show y'all 3 things, 2 documents and 1 set of instructions. And if after this here you don't get it, then I'm just gonna be straight with you. It's time for you to just pack up, find you something else to do. If you can't follow these instructions, if you can't just do what the people are asking you to do, then it's time for you to let this here opportunity go. I'm just gonna be real with you, because at this point in time, there's no nice way to say it. There's no, hey, there's hope for you or anything of that nature. If you can't follow these simple instructions that are laid out, then you need to, you're going to have to find something else to do, okay? I'll buy your equipment for you. Like I always say, at 10% of what you paid for it. You make something back, but I'm serious. Or donate it to some notary charity fund, which I might just start as of now. So if you have any equipment you want to donate it to another notary, just hit me up and we can get that taken care of. And I'll pay for the shipping, get it shipped to whoever needs to go to, and all of that good stuff. But your notary career pretty much is over if you can't follow these simple instructions. It's just that simple. And I'm not trying to be funny, I'm being dead serious. Because if, as I told my sons, in certain things in life, you don't have to quit them, they will put you out. Because you're not acting and conducting yourself the way you should to be successful in it. That industry, that sport, that whatever will put you out. That simple. So, share my screen here. Making sure. All right. So, as we see here, these are instructions for order. This is through the application, the signing database signing order. What company? I'm not telling you. Doesn't matter. Doesn't really matter. You got instructions, but this is how the instructions look in signing order. It clearly tells you what to do. And if you can't do this, then there's a problem. So we see scan backs are required in big bold red letters. That should not be a question. Told me where to meet the person at. I met them there. Attention, notaries, please make sure pages 1, 3, and 4 of the credit application has been signed and dated of the loan application, okay? Now, it says signed and dated. Keep in mind, page 1 on that document does not have a date field. But, you know, you may have to call them and say, do you still want them to put a date there? Because it doesn't have a date on the line. You can do that. Then it says, please make sure your notary, this is their client. Okay, this company has a client. That client is telling them to make sure your notary, signing company, your notary, Griff, does this. Notary stamp on every document you notarize. I've said this time and time again. You do not stamp everywhere you sign. You stamp everywhere you notarize. And I don't understand why people can't understand that. I really, really don't. People are going around just stamping every daggone thing out there because they put a signature on it. There are documents that you put your signature on, but you do not notarize every document that you sign. You notarize, you stamp every document you notarize. I've said this time and time again. They are saying, and notaries are still sitting up here putting on Facebook, calling me, calling so-and-so, calling so-and-so, calling so-and-so, giving folk $500 to be their mentor just to ask them, should I put my stamp? Do I put my stamp? I mean, hold on, let me look at y'all. Let me get back to y'all. I'm serious. This got to stop today. Starting today. Do not put your stamp on the document you notarize. And if you don't understand what document you need to notarize, then you do need to hop in one of my classes. You need to go back to the NNA. You need to go talk to whoever trained you and maybe retake their course. You need to go talk to somebody and say, how do I know I'm notarizing something? And if at this point you don't know what you notarize and you don't know how to recognize that, that document presentation stuff didn't help you. Because if you can't notarize, you don't know what you're looking at to notarize. If you can't recognize it, it's time for you to hang your stamp up. Just hang it up. I'm serious. But the thing tells you everywhere you put the stamp on every document you notarize. And if you're sitting here right now doing this, trying to figure out what do I mean by documents you notarize, do not take another order. That's the sink in moment. Let that sink in. Right now, I don't care if you're upset with me, mad with me, don't like me, unsubscribe. I'm serious. If you've been in this game for at least 2 months, and you're at the point where you like, he said, stamp on every document I notarize, and people faces doing all of this, what did he mean by that? And while you're looking at this video, you're hopping on Facebook. What does Griff mean by stamp on every document I notarize? How do I figure that out? Go call Grubhub, Uber, call them up. Get you a side gig, side hustle, which I don't call this a side hustle, but go get you something that doesn't require you to stamp anything. I'm serious. I'm serious. This is serious business, people. Please make sure your notary stamp is on every document you notarize. And they saying you, but meaning they notarize. Every document they notarize. That's what has to happen. If you don't understand that, you need to go figure it out. It's just that simple. Then it says here, When completing the Homestead Affidavit, please have the signer sign on the two blank lines and then notarize the document, which means when you notarize the document, you go back to the other one, which means you put your stamp on that document. And I'm gonna show you this document, this Homestead Affidavit. I'm gonna show you. Then it says, proceed to signing, even if you cannot confirm with the borrowers. A copy of the borrower package must be provided to the borrowers. And it's not talking about emailing. It's not talking about emailing. It's not talking about putting it on the CD. It's not talking about after you leave, have a little man or TT run back out, hop out the car and run it back up there to them, because some of you not giving people documents because you don't want them to look them documents over, which means you can't get your signing done in 20 minutes or less because they're reading through the documents and they got questions. So you're trying to be slick and not give them the document, and then you have a little man, here you go, sir. Here's your document, sir. And you're like, what the heck this come from? Who are you? My name, man. My mama told me to give you this here. We ain't got time for that. Don't do that. Okay? Don't do that. Don't put man out there like that. And especially if you ain't paying him, you at least gotta pay the little man. You gotta pay him something for running up this thing there, giving some documents for you. Then the last one, it says, Patriot Act requires 2 forms of ID when completing and must be signed by the notary. Again, I've talked about this. I think a few other people have talked about this. The Patriot Act is completed by you. It is completed by you. There is no scenario in which, let me come back to y'all. There is no scenario that I have seen in 3 years of doing this where the borrower completes the Patriot Act for themselves. That is you, the notary. And if you're still having concerns about that and you're doubting that, then call the title company and find out for yourself. You ain't got to believe me, but I'm telling you, the instructions are clear. Everything about that document is clear. It tells you what you need to know. It says clearly on there that you are the one that's supposed to be doing this. And if you don't get that, if you don't understand that, then I don't know what to say. I really don't. I don't understand. Okay. Now, I'm gonna show you this here. Let me swing back over. I'm gonna show you this here. Okay. This here is for Virginia, because people still talking about they don't know if they need to put their seal, the stamp, on a document because it doesn't say seal. It doesn't say stamp. It doesn't say anything in the notary area. Right here, it tells me as a Virginia notary, near the notary's official signature on the notarial certificate of a paper document, the notary shall affix a sharp, legible, permanent, and graphically reproducible image of the official seal. What don't anybody understand about that that's in Virginia? And then you go check your own notary law, because see, here's the problem. Many of you, come back to you, many of you have not checked your notarial laws. You done took these courses and you done hopped out there, started doing this stuff, and you ain't read your manual. You ain't looked at not nan book, not nan page, not nan sentence. That's right, nan. Of that, you are supposed to be doing it. I was just reading something else on there that I saw. I already knew that. Okay, just double check and see if y'all needed to know that. But in what world do you not put your seal? Unless your state says you don't. And if you're not in a state that says you don't, then you put it. But for some reason, y'all's done listened to Facebook, and Facebook done told y'all you don't have to seal, put your seal. And it's weird because you're sitting up there telling some on one end, people saying, oh yeah, every time you sign, stamp. But then when you get to the notarial section, you won't stamp. And you're calling people and you're Facebooking people and tweeting people and TikToking and putting on Vine and all of that kind of stuff, that you, well, do I put my stamp? Where do I put my stamp? Should I put my stamp? It didn't say put my stamp. And lastly, it says near the official signature, you do sign the notarial area. You sign it. So this is stuff that we're supposed to be doing, okay? But for some reason, y'all didn't listen to the wrong information and it's jacking you up. And again, none of this, what I'm talking about, has a thing to do with you presenting the documents. This ain't about presenting the documents. This is about you notarizing these documents correctly, executing them. That is the true definition of these documents. When it's talking about executing, making sure the borrower signed correctly, date correctly, and you notarize correctly. And if none of that can happen, who cares what you said about the document? Who cares what you showed them on discount points or interest rates or broke down their loan comparison? Here's your new loan versus your old, and see with your old loan you got this, you was paying this, and with your new loan now you're paying that. Who cares if you can't notarize the document so that the person can get the loan funded? Come on. I understand we want to have this professional look. I understand that. But that is not what we're there for in and of itself. I mean, really. And let me go and address this here. Somebody posted on one of my things that I did in Florida talking about, sound like you just, somebody named Jamie something, throwing documents down in front of people. As long as you don't give them legal advice, you can explain the documents, you can share stuff with the documents. Answer me this: what is deemed legal advice? No one has ever had a class on here's what is deemed legal advice when explaining the documents. Do not cross this line. So you're telling me I can explain something as long as I don't give legal advice, but you're not giving me the definition of what would be legal advice concerning that loan package or individual documents in that loan package. So how can I not cross a line that I don't even know exists? But you keep telling me, well, we really got to do that. We really got to do that. So everybody's focused on that, bumping their gums, talking about the document, showing how smart they are from the $3 billion class they paid, but you can't notarize the documents correctly. You can't even follow instructions. I don't get that. You got your focus on the wrong thing. Because I'm gonna tell you, at the end of the day, you can do everything right that the escrow officer, title officer, loan officer want. But if you don't get them documents notarized properly, send the documents back without the stamp. See how much they're gonna be using you. Well, I explained the documents. I did. Did you do what you was hired to do? But I did what you told. I did all this other stuff to get the $300. We'll give you the $300. We just ain't gonna use you no more. Back to the instructions over here. It's that plain and simple. Now, again, this document said Homestead Affidavit. Talking about the Homestead Affidavit, that's what it said that they need to sign. What's significant about that? As you look at this document, you will notice something special about it. It doesn't say anything about who. It doesn't physically say, actually says who. Down here, up here says the undersigned authority of Notary Public on this day personally appeared the following affiants. What affiants? It doesn't have their name there. It doesn't. But we can conclude or deduce, I think that's the right word, that it's talking about the borrowers. And down here says, further the affiants saith not, whatever, and then they sign. They say they sign their name here. So they sign, even though it doesn't have their name printed. And I've seen this document for the last 3 years, and it is always like this. Here's the deal. They sign it. And what that instruction is saying is that there's no scenario in which you have this document, you have the borrowers in front of you, and they don't sign this. It's that simple. State of, county of, my, if it's a single person, our, if it's a couple, my, if it's a single person, our, if it's a couple, all of this, they take care of all of that. Sign, you print, state and county, you put who it was in front of you, you put the date that it was done, notary public, your commission, and stamp, even though it doesn't say here. Even though there's no thing over here, but it says given under this date and seal of this office, of the office, this, whatever date, you stamp. You get it done. This gets done. Why they had that instruction in there? Because people aren't doing it. It's that simple. Now, this document here is simple. All this is, let me zoom in a little bit. All you're doing is filling this document in for each signer, stating that you took their information, and this is what that information said for their ID. In this case, you put the county, the state, you put their name, you print their name, the date of the acknowledgement, what ID, if it was driver's license, you fill that information in. Was the capacity of the signer an individual, corporate, partner, whatever? In this case, individual. You put all your notary information down here, and then you're reading this here, and then you sign it. I've talked to the NNA. You do not stamp this. You do not stamp this. You do not add a notarial acknowledgement, loose leaf, non-loose leaf, plastic leaf, whatever leaf. You do not put it on here. They want you to stamp this to prove that your stamp is valid and unexpired. But according to the NNA Code of Conduct Handbook, I believe in section 2 something, 2 points, whatever, I can't remember, I used to know it off the top of my head. You are not allowed to do that because you're notarizing your own signature. According to your state law, you're not allowed to do that. But you say, but this is an acknowledgement. It is not. It says, I acknowledge that the identification as stated above was provided to me. We take acknowledgements. We are not stating an acknowledgement and taking our own acknowledgement at the same time. Somebody acknowledged something. The borrower should have acknowledged something concerning this document and then signed it. And as all acknowledgements say, the foregone instrument was acknowledged before me by whoever. This doesn't say that. This does not say that the instrument, the document was acknowledged before me. It says I, talking about the notary, acknowledged something. So we do not put our seal here. We do not. And stamping and putting your line through does not invalidate it. Now that right there is going to probably cause an uproar from a whole lot of people, because that's what a lot of people was told. I was told that, and I had done that in the past, and come to find out that ain't what we're supposed to do. Oh, got it. You don't stamp it. You do not, because that's you notarizing your own signature. Just the same as you do not stamp the U.S. Patriot Act or Custom Identification Verification Form. You sign it, you do not stamp it. You do not stamp it, you do not stamp it. So you do not stamp everywhere you sign, but you stamp on every document you notarize. It is just that simple. It is just that simple. You sign it, and if they come back and tell me you need to put your stamp there, no, I'm not allowed to notarize my own signature. Well, we just need to verify that your stamp is unexpired and is valid. I'm submitting to you a loan package. I've submitted to you a loan package that has at least 10 of my stamp on it 10 times. Is my stamp expired on that document? Well, no, but then you don't need to have my stamp just arbitrarily in your files, especially if you have me doing this every single time I do a closing for you, I got to put my stamp there, put my stamp there, put my stamp there. That doesn't make sense. Now, if any title escrow person watching this video, if you have something else, I am 100% open. Come on back to y'all. I am 100% open to be corrected. But when I called the NNA, they told me, when I looked at my state handbook, it said, So show me a valid legal reason why I should put my stamp on that document. And I'm good. It's not about a nice to do. It's about what's right to do. And everybody's trying out here telling people, telling notaries, hey, it will be nice to do, nice to do, nice to do. But what's legal to do? What is the correct thing to do? Because the moment you're nice to do is not the right thing to do. It's not the legal thing to do. Somebody getting in trouble. Somebody loan's not getting funded. And somebody might be going to jail. So y'all work with me and help me out. I'm bringing this up to get the truth, okay? Forget all of this. Well, so-and-so said, my trainer said, I mean, just like somebody contacted me, said that they didn't, signer wrote the wrong date down. So they was asking me, should they or can they line through the person's date initially and put the correct date for them? Because somebody told them that they could. In my mind, I'm like, okay, if somebody told you that you could, then why are you asking me, can you? If the training you've taken has told you that you can do this, if the training has told you to do such and such, in my opinion, you shouldn't be hopping on Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, Divine, MySpace, any of that. Talking about, hey, can I do this? Ask the question correctly. I received training that told me to do this. I want to know if it's true. And better yet, put down who you got that information from. Earl Jones told me, Jaquita told me, Kylie told me, Cody told me that I could do this. I just want to make sure. In my opinion, if you done paid for training, mentorship, and they told you to do something, what is there to ask? You paid for an answer. You got an answer. Go do it. I just want to make sure. Then what, you don't have confidence in what you paid for? Like I said, you go and you take a driver's ed course. You learn how to drive. You get your driver's license. You are not calling your driver's ed instructor the next day saying, okay, look, when I get in the car, I'm supposed to put the key in there to turn it on, right? I'm just making sure. You done took a course. You done paid for driver's ed, and you done did this for a week or two, putting the key in, turning it, and now after you got your driver's license, drove the car back home, go to sleep and get up the next day, and you're saying, hey, Philip, how do I turn this car? I'm supposed to put the key in there, right? It's the key for the car, not my house key, right? You don't do that. So if you're paying for training and then you constantly got to ask questions about it, then something's wrong either with the training or with you or both. And you as the business owner are going to have to take time out to figure that out. There's a disconnect somewhere. Where? Have no idea. I'm trying to do everything I can to help you, but it doesn't. Somebody called and asked me, should I just scan back? Just the signature pages. Did the instructions tell you that? No. Then why you ask, do what the instructions say. Now, let me share this with you. Some of the questions that I see on Facebook and that have been asked of me and that I've heard other people say that's been asked of them really need to be asked of the title company. If you think you can, if you wanted it, whether you can align through somebody else's signature or initials and put the correct date down there and all that, then you need to go call the title company and ask them, is that so? If there's a document in there that has a notarial acknowledgement area on there, but it says it's for another person, it's for the lender, it's for something, and you still thinking that you should notarize it, then you got to call the title company. There's a point in which if you think there's something wrong with the document, there's something in error on the document, you got to call the title company. Because I'm not going to tell you to do something and it's not my, I'm going to tell you what I would do. I would call the title company. If there's a form in there that you think needs to be filled out and you're not sure about it, tax form or whatever, and you have not received any training on how to deal with that form, asking Facebook and all these other entities, human and non-human, you're going to have to go to the title company. And if you don't want to go to the title company, which a lot of people don't, because they don't want to seem like they don't know anything, then you're just going to have to flip a coin and take a chance. It's that simple. I mean, because there's people out there that will tell you whatever answer you want to hear just to make you feel good. They will. Whether you paid them or not, they will just, hey, should I do this? Yeah, go ahead on and do that. Just like somebody put the word out saying, if you're in a signing and the signing gets canceled, to ensure that you get paid, make sure you fill out the U.S. Patriot Act first. And if they cancel the signing they cancel it while you're there, if the U.S. Patriot Act form is filled out, you'll still get paid. Now, keep in mind, the instructions said that people aren't signing the U.S. Patriot Act. So that tells you a lot of people are not even probably filling it out right or even doing it. I've never heard that you can fill out the U.S. Patriot Act and then a borrower cancels the loan and that guarantees that you're going to get the full fee. Now, that might be something that's specific with that person and their relationship with their client or who their direct client or signing company, whoever. That might be something over yonder. All I can say is you need to ask somebody to give you some receipts on that. You need to double check it, because if you go start doing that kind of stuff, people are going to be looking at you all side-eye. You need to make sure the information that you are trying to execute in your notarial business is applicable for you. Because some of the stuff they're saying is not notary-wide, meaning notary nationwide, that from California to Florida to New York to Texas to Seattle to North Dakota and beyond within the states, that is applicable for you. You've got to make sure. And just because they look good, they sound good, probably smell good, when you meet them in person and you buying them lunch and they just telling you whatever, put lines through this, put lines through that, scratch this out. You got to challenge people. You really got to challenge them. And I don't care how professional, and especially, and I know some of the people are older than you and you want to give respect to them. But if they wrong, they wrong. It's that simple. If they wrongs, they wrongs. Okay? Period. That's all I got for y'all right now. I just wanted to throw this up here. Figured this would take about 5 minutes. But I don't know what else to say. If you are not willing, able, or even contemplating to follow the directions that are given to you, then it's about time for you to go in and bow out of this here. Find you something else to do, take up commercial fishing or something, and make you some money doing that. But this notary thing is not going to work for you because you're unwilling to follow the directions that they've laid out for you. And you're making up stuff as you go along. You're implementing other people's made up stuff as you go along. So if you want to donate your equipment, let me know. If you want to sell it, I give you 10% of what it's worth, and we'll call it a day. All right, peace.